Joining me, we have the great Sandra Smith, co-anchor of America Reports on Fox News. We have the equally great Liz Peek, syndicated columnist and Fox News contributor, and the even greater Taylor Riggs, co-host of The Big Money Show right here on fabulous Fox Business. Sandra, just give me a quick one. Your thoughts on the murders in Washington, D.C., the stupidity of Claire Shipman at Columbia, and Harvard in bed with Chinese Communist Party. I mean, really, you can't make this stuff up.
Well,
you can't make this stuff up.
At least we've got an administration calling all of this what it is.
Right.
And I think that's the bottom line. And I think that's the response I got from every single guest that we brought on to our 2-hour program on that today. What happened in Washington last night was absolutely horrific. It can never happen again. We've got to put a stop to this. And, you know, there are Jewish people all over the world now who say that they are unsafe wherever they go. And now, right in our nation's capital, that is the case. And that is appalling. The disruptions at Columbia and our college campuses, the universities let this go on far too long, and that's why we are where we are today. This move with Harvard now and stopping...
The leader of the resistance,
Harvard
University.
Look, there's an administration
in the 17th century.
is put in place right now, that voters put in place to call this what it is, call it out, and put a stop to it. And I think there's a lot of hope that we'll eventually turn a corner, but our hearts and our prayers are with that sweet couple that was about to be engaged, we're told, sadly.
That's right. No, that's what I heard. Liz, you know you can't make this stuff up. I mean, Trump's working hard, and he's doing what he can, and he's very popular for it, but it still continues. You have crazy people doing this stuff. Look, the couple that was murdered is just the most sickening, heartbreaking thing. Okay. But Claire Shipman, former journalist and president of Columbia, that is the stupidest, most insane thing. She's mourning the fact that their grad student wasn't there, and these are Columbia that's gone through all kinds of riots and anti-Semitism, and you had how many people were killed on October 7th? 1,200, 1,300 people? How many hostages were taken? Many hundreds that still haven't been returned, many of whom died. And she's mourning the fact that this jerk who led the anti-Semitic, anti-Israel thing was thrown into a jail in Louisiana and couldn't make the graduation? Really?
Yeah, I mean, imagine if you had saved and scrimped as a family to send your kid to Columbia. This was the culmination of their 4 years to celebrate the achievement of graduating from school. And you had these nitwits booing the president of the college, burning their diplomas, which is what was going on, pushing and shoving, making life miserable for everybody except who? People who support Gaza, Palestinians who, by the way, as you say, perpetrated one of the most atrocious acts in the history of the world, this horrible slaughter of 1,200 Jews. There is a direct line, ... from those protests, which have not been stopped across the country at all these elite universities, and what happened in Washington, D.C. It is okay now to be anti-Semitic. Larry, you and I know that if you had told us 30 years ago that anti-Semitism was kind of okay, or being anti-Israel was okay, it would be like telling young people now that it's okay to be anti-black. It is absolutely not okay in either case, but somehow colleges have not educated these kids to understand what's really going on in Gaza with the Palestinians and with the Israelis, and that is their fault.
I would just say, as I have many times in the last couple of years in this spot here on this set, that this DEI business that was perpetrated, it didn't start with Biden, it started with Obama, but the Bidens took it to the nth power, was the progenitor of the anti-Semitism wave, okay? It was the progenitor. The one led to the other. And these Middle Eastern departments and whatever they call themselves, Middle East and this and that, who needs them? And B, that's where so much of the trouble is. And again, I'm glad Harvard got its ears pinned back once again. I hope they lose every single nickel they get from the federal government, et cetera, et cetera. We have Dershowitz coming on later, and we'll talk some more about this. So I'm going to spare you. I'm going to ask you the mundane thing.
Oh, no.
I mean, how good is this one big, beautiful bill of tax cuts? And,
oh, you omitted the beautiful in your open.
I know. I was sort of flustered. I just finished writing this other thing, and I was just furious.
I didn't know if that was a personal take.
No, I was in a furor over this other thing. But anyway, One big, beautiful bill, tax cuts, deregulation, a lot of other
growth.
things in the bill, too. We have, I think, a full screen showing some of the main economic items in this thing. Maybe we'll get it up before too long. But there we are.
Good list, good start. Not perfect.
Nobody can see it.
Not everything perfect that I'd like to see, but good enough and a big victory. Some of the things that we love, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. I qualify for a Trump baby account this year, so sure, I'll take it, even though not always a huge fan of that, but that's fine. At least it's not a handout. It's an investment. I can get behind that. Don't always love the increase in the SALT. I'd love to see more spending cuts. But Larry, you and I have had a little back and forth on this, and you have come to convince me, as you always do,
sometimes
growth eventually will outweigh any lack of spending cuts that I wish we would have more of. So I like that it is a pro-growth agenda, and this is absolutely something that the economy and businesses need. I love that you, the Chamber of Commerce, come out in big support, and the National Federation of Independent Businesses also come out in big support. So that is a sign that businesses and workers and American people like what they see.
some of the stuff in there is great for big business and small business. I mean, the depreciation stuff, the 100% expensing, the effective 15% tax rate for Made in America, factories written off in year one, which is very cool. And the other thing is, Sandra Smith, the economy is in much better shape than people think. Donald Trump's
Federal Reserve Chair says that.
Donald Trump's polls are in excellent. The guy's writing nearly 50% approval ratings or close to it in a number of, I'm going to say, reputable polls as opposed to phony polls from certain newspapers that I won't mention, like the New York Times and the Washington Post.
But we won't mention
there
that.
I go.
Keep it quiet.
I said it again. It's
But all
fascinating.
these Democrats screaming debt bomb, it's like this offers more spending restraint, as the Wall Street
Right.
Journal points
Than
out.
anything
Anyway,
we've seen.
Than anything we saw from any Biden Democrat.
Thank you.
I mean, hello.
Sandra Smith. Thank you.
But when it comes to growth,
You should visit us more
and
often.
growth always wins the day. I mean, how can you not argue that the extension of the 2017 tax cuts is going to win the day? And it puts more money back in the worker's pocket. No tax on tips, right? Kevin Hassett was just on Fox News a short time ago saying this puts $1,700 back on the average worker's wallet when it comes to no tax on tips. Overtime, no tax on overtime. That puts $1,700 back into that worker's pocket. I mean, you can't argue that this isn't a growth-friendly bill, but there are certainly aspects to it that could have been better, quite clearly.
Well, of
even
course.
for some of these Republicans.
They have to slice that salami down there, you know what I mean? Liz, I think that's why bond rates have gone up. They're not going up because of deficits. They're not going up because foreigners are deserting us. They're going up because the economy is in better shape than people thought even 6 weeks ago.
I think it's a combination. I think the Moody's thing kind of rattled people. But to Sandra's point, where have these people been?
Yeah.
I mean, the big step up in spending didn't happen in the last 100 days. It happened under Biden with that preposterous $1.9 trillion American Rescue Act, which we didn't need to rescue. I mean, America was doing just fine when they passed that bill. Not letting a crisis go to waste is sort of the mantra of the Democrat Party, and they used it over and over again under Joe Biden. I am hopeful. Russ Vought came out today talking about how they are going to have rescissions. $9 billion is teed up. I hope to see a whole lot more of that, Larry. That is just as important as trimming an entitlement program or anything else. Those are real cuts in real spending. So let's hope that. And please, Lord, do not let the Senate screw this up.
You know, you can get your 3% growth, which I think is a very reasonable assumption, and it will wipe out so much of the deficit in the next 10 years under these. Now, these are all crazy 10-year estimates. Nobody knows how that's going to work. But given that game that's played in Washington, and I've played it a few times myself.
You have. You have.
You plug in 3% growth, you pick up several trillions more in revenues, okay, which is really a wonderful thing because that's what we got the last time from the 2017 bill. Now, somebody should do away with the CBO, Congressional Budget Office, altogether. But I don't want to really fret about that so much. I'm just saying, people I read, bond rates are going up, stocks are going down, the dollar's going down because the deficit's too high. It's just utter nonsense.
Who said the stock market's going down?
Oh,
Might want to.
oh, really? Should we we'll put you on the list of the emails.
Isn't it back above the Liberation
Of course
Day
it
levels?
is. And by the
Yes,
way,
they are.
the rising stock market the, I think, sensible Trump pivot on tariffs, his very successful trip to the Middle East, where he's bringing home the bacon for about a couple $1 trillion worth, and about 15 or 25 American companies are going. Now that's not in the CBO estimates either. This stuff's all holding together pretty nicely here.
And finally, gas prices are coming down too, just in time for Memorial Day.
I was looking for that.
Yeah.
Why is it AAA still $3.18?
I don't know. The White House says they think they're going to get them down. Caroline Leavitt said today they're going to get it down to $3.04. I think she
this
said
was
by Memorial Day.
an estimate by a certain service.
It's down about 60 cents.
But I'm all for
over
it.
a year.
The Saudis are going to turn the spigots open. I actually met last evening with a major oil company CEO who said oil prices are going into the 50s.
Oh, is that good or bad for them?
He doesn't care.
Not ideal, probably for them.
What's the
That's
break even
okay.
these days?
He can make money at $35.
That's good to know.
That's
all right.
really
There
good.
You go.
That's really good. Are we all happy now? Is it better?
You got me over my worry about my debt to GDP ratio. So fine, Larry wins. I'm all up in arms about the ratio, and he says ignore the ratio.
All that
Look at your
stuff's gonna come down.
pocketbook.
It's all going. Spending to GDP is going to come down. Deficits GDP, debt to GDP, and anyway, debt is as American as
You say
apple
that.
pie. It's just the most wonderful thing in the world. Alexander Hamilton, where are you now that we need you?
Larry, could we also say it's not a
Larry.
$4 trillion tax hike?
Liz
coming?
Peek
Well
and
said.
Taylor Riggs and Sandra Smith.
was fun. Thank
Quite
you.
a crowd. Ladies' night out. I appreciate it very much. You can catch Sandra along with her co-anchor John Roberts on America Reports. Weekdays from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern here on Fox News. And Taylor, along with her co-host Brian Brenberg, David McDowell, and Jackie DeAngelis, The Big Money Show. Weekdays from noon to 2 p.m. Eastern on fabulous Fox Business.